Wakanda Forever, 2019. I don't know if I don't know if I've said that already this year, but it continues. Um, so I'm not sure what the name of this video log is going to be, but it's going to have everything to do with me doing the landmark advanced course last weekend, which completed last Tuesday, and things have been so. Listen, if I could, if, don't ask me to do this, if I could pay for everybody on this planet to do those seminars, I would do it. Hell, if I was a CEO of a company, I'd pay for all of my employees to do it. And, I'm going to try not to use the language that they use in that business, because it doesn't, it twists English in a way that leaves you empowered. And I mean really twisted. If I started talking out of that work that I have been doing since the 1980s, I'd lose everybody. And I am not a forum leader, so I don't want to even come close to trying to explain some of the terminology that is used in there, some of the ways that they speak English. I mean, they, from things as little as trying in your mind, and maybe if you write or whatever, to replace the word but with and in a sentence, and see what that does. Because, see, I'm already forgetting why that is more empowering than using but. Using and eliminates the, negating what you said before you said but. And if you use the word and, you'll just have to try it for yourself. You'll just have to try it for yourself to see what happens. Because there's absolutely no way to describe what goes on inside of those seminars, because they are done live. There is to be no note-taking. Everything is happening in the room each and every day for the first 3 days. And then there's a completion on Tuesday night. But during those 3 days, see, everybody who does their seminars, and there's going to be a lot of people that watch this video and they're going to run out and, start trying to research landmark education worldwide, and they're going to find some shit, and they're going to find some good stuff. It's everybody, people are opinionated everywhere. This world values opinions to the point where it's, getting rather nauseous these days in society. I mean, everybody's got an opinion. And nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, most people are not doing anything about their lives, about their feelings, about empowering themselves. Listen, very, very, very powerful people have done those seminars. They weren't broken people. They weren't people looking for a fix. They weren't people who needed to be fixed. It is not that kind of education. It's not a class. It's not a course. It's not something. I mean, they manage to cause breakthroughs in people in 3 days. Not everybody who does it gets a breakthrough. It really depends on how you listen and how you participate. Because even people who just listen and they don't do anything and they don't participate, most of the people I've known personally who did it that way, they walked away with some insights, and that's all they got. They didn't get breakthroughs because they really didn't participate in the seminar. And there's some homework you need to do, and there's 4 courses in the curriculum for living, and I just did the 3rd one again. I did it back in I think 1992. I think 1992, and then I skipped over the last one because I was convinced, and so was everybody else during my advanced course, that I might want to take a look at becoming a forum leader. So I jumped on the track of leading introductions. That is what I was doing as a public speaker for Landmark. I was leading introductions, and then because I ended up, we call it on it, I ended up getting an attitude. During my training, I did not graduate with my class, and maybe that was a racket. Maybe I rigged it that way so that I wouldn't have to go further, because look, being a forum leader is a huge place to stand in your life, because you have to stand there causing all of these breakthroughs for people that you have to be standing in the possibility of causing breakthroughs for people you don't even know. So it takes a long time training, and it takes you consistently standing in a place you wouldn't normally stand in your everyday life. I don't even like people. I have an affinity for people. I love people. I have a lot of compassion for people, and I don't like them very much. So, and I seen that 20-something years ago. So, I didn't graduate with my class, and I thought, that'll be it, right? No. They said, oh, wait a minute, it ain't over. It ain't over till it's over, right? We want you to be a coach for people being trained to lead introductions to the forum. The introductions, which is kind of like, not everybody who does the forum goes to an introduction. I happen to do it that way because a guy at my job approached me with it, and I admired the hell out of that man. I don't remember his name. I remember he was very tall. I met him and his wife, and he was a black man. And I was so drawn to him. There was something about his energy that just, I didn't even know what it was. I was only 20, I was either 22 or 23 when I met this guy. And you know what? I could have been 26 for all I know. I don't remember, because all I know is that he invited me to an introduction, and the man who created those seminars was leading it. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about him. And but I went just because, I tried to figure that guy out. I would try to corner him, take him to lunch and corner him and ask him, why are you so different? What exactly about you is going on here? See, I was stuck back then in a pattern of being very, very angry and upset about being a black man not caught, but in white man's mostly white industry. And it was just driving me crazy. I had just gotten a job at Tandem Computers, and it probably was within the first year. Maybe not. I need to stop trying to go back in time and try to pinpoint timelines. I do it better in my book than I can do it verbally. But anyway, so, I asked him, and he was an executive. Well, not an executive, but he was up there. You know, he was manager or above. He might have even been one of the vice presidents of that corporation. And I kept wanting to know how the heck he got there and how he got over having, how he got over to becoming a manager of that company, because there wasn't, I didn't know of any other black managers in that company, male or female. So he just had this really Cheshire cat grin on his face, like, I got a secret. But I didn't even know why he was looking like that. I just kept drilling him. That's, see, I'm getting ready to use some of the terminology in there, and nobody's going to understand what I'm saying. But one of the things that I used throughout my life to become successful is just being very, very inquisitive. I would pick people's brains. That is how I went from hardware to software. There was a guy, employee number like 5 or 6 or 7, who took an affinity to me, and I would just pick that man's brain, and he just loved it. I don't know why he loved it, because this guy was super fucking smart. I mean, he had one of the mainframes in his house. I'd never been to his house, but you know, he told me it was in there, and that's why he knew so much about the system, and he helped write some of the operating system for that mainframe. I would pick that man's brain. So anyway, I did to this guy what I had done to, and I remember his name too. I wonder if he's still alive. In fact, I haven't thought about his name in decades. But I'm gonna write it down because I want to look up and see if this guy is still alive and what he might be doing. Anyway, I would pick that guy's brain, and I tried to pick this manager's brain, and he finally said, you know, part of the reason why I'm this way is because I did the forum. That's all they called it at the time. They didn't preface it with landmark. They just called it the forum. I said, really? Okay, well, what's that about? And he said, you know what? It's really too hard to explain. So why don't you come to an introduction? Which, of course, made me like, not paranoid, but, oh God, what's that other word? Not paranoid, not suspicious, skeptical. Very skeptical. And it was like, okay. Because see, his respect, I have done many things in my life out of respect for somebody. It didn't take them fucking trying to convince me. It didn't take hardly anything at all, because despite my level of angst and anger and all this stuff, other stuff that was going on with me throughout my life, I've always been very open-minded. So I'm willing to go take a look. I don't care if it's, should I want a trip to Hawaii doing that? Because I was willing to go to one of those timeshare seminars, and as long as I sat there and listened to their hype and listened to all their sales pitching and all that kind of stuff, as long as I sat there through all of that and made it through that without buying into anything, then I got a trip to Hawaii. So I was very known to doing things in a very open-minded fashion. You know, I was willing to take a look. So I went. And that introduction was off the chain. And I remember, okay, now I'm not talking about the advanced course anymore. But anyway, I went into the bathroom. They had a break after a little while, and I went into the bathroom, and I sat on the can. And then I said out loud, because I'm not one to just, I don't pray per se, because I'm not religious. But I said, okay, God, if this is something I should do, give me a sign. You know what happened? The toilet flushed. And I didn't flush the toilet. And that was back in the days when they didn't have automatic flushing toilets. I mean, this was the 1980s. And that toilet flushed, and I jumped up and ran out of the bathroom, walked right past the guy, because he was getting ready to try to have a conversation with me about whether I would enroll in it or not, whether I would register for it or not. And he kind of grabbed me as I was walking past him, and he said, hey, I want to talk to you. And I said, about what? And he says, well, about doing the form. I said, I'm headed over to register right now. And the look on his face was absolutely, he was like, I'm sure he probably said this was the easiest time I've ever had inviting somebody to one of these things and having them just not even consult me and do it. I should be the face of Nike, just do it. That is my motto. That is one of the things that have made me successful in my life, without a degree, without anything, but trusting people that have my back. And if they told me to do this, I went and did it. He didn't even have to tell me to do it. I just went and did it. God in that toilet told me to do it. So anyway, so I did it. And that put me on a fast track, and I did the advanced course. Now, and I did a whole bunch of other seminars. I did a whole bunch of other seminars. They have a lot of seminars besides just the curriculum for living, which is the 4 seminars. They've got communications courses. I even did a course with the differences between men and women. Oh, that was remarkable. They put all the women in the chairs in front of the seminar leader or forum leader and have a conversation about how women thought or how women felt. And the men were off to the side observing. Then after a day or 2 or 3, they'd switch. And the men would be in the seats having a conversations with these highly trained people, and the women would be off to the side. I learned more in that seminar. I must have, because I remember it more than I do a lot of the other ones. I did a communications seminar. I just did a whole bunch of other seminars. Because that stuff lit me up. Now, when you go out there and you look, you're going to see all sorts of people's opinions, thinking it's a cult, thinking there's something in the water, thinking people are skeptical, period. And if they're skeptical and it frightens them and it makes their spidey senses tingle or hair stand up on the back of their neck, they're telling themselves, don't trust this. But it's not a cult. It's not any of that crap. It's not religion. It's not anything. It's a technology that centers around the being of human beings. So that's all I'm going to say, speaking the language of that place. But so this last weekend was just more amazing than I actually thought it was. It's just now catching up to me. It started catching up to me Wednesday. Because I had the hugest breakdown on the planet Sunday night with my feet. I'm having some pretty major issues with my feet, and had a complete breakdown Sunday night. And I thought that I hadn't gotten a breakthrough because of that entire day. It started out early Sunday morning when I got really, really, really angry about something that happened. And it was on me that I got angry. But I sat there stewing for like 4 hours. I didn't get any sleep. And the group leader, they split you up in groups now in that course. They didn't do that before, but they split you up in groups of 6 or something like that. And 2 minutes after I tried to do something about the way that I felt, and I did something about it. I tried to do something about it. The group leader called me 2 minutes later. And I went off. I went off so bad I embarrassed myself while I was going off. Because my humanity was on my face. I told her I got an alien on my face, and I don't want to feel like this. And I don't know how that woman, well, you know what? It wasn't her. Okay, I'm going to use terminology again that you're not going to understand, but I'm going to use it anyway. So the more you're around that business, the bigger your listening gets. So let me try to explain that. Big listening, what is that? It just takes me less time to get the point, to get off it, to not want to feel that way, to be more of a stand for having a breakthrough than I am a stand to be a little jerk about anything. Now, there's certain areas of my life where, you know what, I'm going to, no matter what, if a particular thing keeps going on and on and on, and I'm just going to stay on it with that person. But around there, my listening is so big for them that I allowed this lady who was brand new to the program to cause a breakthrough with me because I was up for it. I wanted that. I did not want to go in to Sunday feeling the way that I was feeling. So I literally, after I dumped a bunch of stuff, I said, you know what, I don't even want to feel this way. And I don't want to feel this way. And she just kicked into another gear and caused a breakthrough. And I said, okay, see ya at the center. I haven't had any sleep. But I think what I told her, what I said was, you know, for group, for my declaration as group and not myself, I'm going to be there whether I end up getting something grand out of this seminar or not. I'm going to be there for everybody else, which is also something we call an act. Not like a pretend. Well, it is like a pretend. But it's not like a pretend that you can see. It's like something you discover out of doing that, is you find out where you are pretending in life and get authentic about it. You make distinctions about your act, about what you pretend you're doing with yourself, with regards to life, with regards to people, with regards to situations, with regard to family, with regard to spouses, with regard to your children, with regard to anything that you want it to be in regard of. You end up making distinctions that, you know, my act is 2 words, which, you know, the way it's educated is that it is just 1 or 2 words, but my act is run away, and that I'll practically cause anything to run away from it. Been doing it all my life. No, been doing it probably since I was in grade school. When we moved into that exclusively white neighborhood is when it was a matter of me picking up things for survival purposes. And that's just one of the things I picked up way back when. But I got to see a glimpse of when that started, because I went back in my mind and in the course through other people speaking. I wasn't even talking. I wasn't interacting with the forum leader, but through other people's stories, I got to see my own. And I saw where it began, which was in the 4th or 5th grade. So shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh my God. I was talking about something. I don't know what it was. But you know what? The last 3 days have been such a blast. I had no idea that after the seminar was over is when my stuff kicked in. You know, and this has happened to me time and time again. I have no idea what it's about, but I get this delayed reaction to things. In fact, when I ended up so upset Sunday morning, it was after I had a couple of conversations, one with a family member, and one with my best friend, I think. I don't know, my timeline might be smashed. But anyway, it was after that. So I had a delayed reaction to something that happened on Saturday. Came out of nowhere and popped me on the head and had me so pissed I didn't know what to do with myself. Anyway, so it kicks in Wednesday. And I have been having a blast and on fire ever since. You know, I'm always the type of guy that I do spread joy, and I do spread a lot of laughter and a lot of outrageous behavior that came out of that work, okay? Being trained as a public speaker for Landmark turned me inside out, upside down, all around, and sprung me out of my box. Now, it didn't alleviate me of a box. It just made the box bigger. You know, we're human. We're always going to have a level of being in the box. But there, if your listening is big enough, and you take the coaching and you take the training seriously, you have the ability to jump out that box anytime you want to. And I have been doing that for 25, 26, 27. I've been doing that for a long time. So when I'm out there, you know, in public, I'm absolutely outrageous. And I'll tell everybody who hasn't met me yet, you better not embarrass easily, because I'm so unpredictable. Stuff comes out of me, and I'm always making people laugh, and I draw a big crowd out there, and I'm just outrageous, okay? I'm just, no, I'll say anything at any time, any point in time, just anything. And be loud about it, too. Sometimes I'm quiet about it, but most of the time I don't care. I care, but I don't. I don't care what people think of me. I care what I think of me. I care what God thinks of me. I do care how I'm being in the world. I do care how I'm showing up in the world. I do. But not like people would want me to. It's according to me and according to God, not according to them. So, which kind of jerks some people's chains, because they will do their damnedest to pull me out of character, to suit jumping in their box. Some of their boxes, you know, that water they're swimming in is so dirty, and they think it's clean, and those are the most dangerous people on the planet. You know, I used to akin, and maybe I actually heard this around there, that what they actually do is take you out of the water you're swimming in and have you turn around and take an objective look at what's in the water you're swimming in, called your life. So, I was given that ability to jump outside, turn around and look at it without casting judgments and any of that kind of stuff on it, but clearly, honestly look at it and see the shit swimming around that water, take it out and throw it out the water. Clean the tank. Clean the water. Cleaning the water cleans the tank, right? Well, no, you got to clean the tank too, but, you know, you get the idea. I learned how to jump out of myself. Now, other people can't do that to me, not unless they're trained like that. Then I have a listening for them doing that. Otherwise, don't even come close to trying it, or I'll snap your fucking neck in two. But people that showed me how to do it can attempt to do that with me, just not average, ordinary Joe that's never done that work before. I don't, see, you don't know what you're doing. But if I could tell anybody anything, and I'm not going to make this a long video, but I said that I would to somebody, and I'm a man of my word, and I try to live my life with integrity. I do what I say I'm going to do. I don't tell you one thing and do another. You know, people like that are dangerous too. But if I could, I just wish, and I told somebody this last night, that I wish I could give everybody on the planet what I have, how I feel, which is absolutely awesome, wonderful. Even with my feet hurting 24/7, I still feel amazing. I feel amazing. Feel amazing. I'm not amazing, but I feel that way. And every time I do that stuff, things like that, and there is nothing, read my lips, nothing in this country that can cause this kind of transformation in 3 days. What people think and are calling transformation is actually change, and it's happening real slow over time. Well, I ain't got that kind of patience, which is why I was drawn to this. The first time I did it, when they kept saying this stuff works in 3 days, I said, 3 days? Are you kidding me? What can work like that? What can cause that in 3 days? And they said, do it and find out. So I did it. I found out. And I was kind of pushed into this last year because I was told to do something that was going to be a 6-month ordeal every week. And I had been to one group. I had been to one of them, and just, I had a yucky feeling about it. I'm very sensitive to vibrations. And so if I'm in a room full of hostile people, my body does funny things, and so does my mind. And so I told my doctor, I'm not doing that. In fact, I'll go do the form again before I do that, because that works in 3 days. What can beat 3 days versus 6 months every week? And my car was broken. So, but guess what? Now here's an alternate, empowering way to look at that very same thing, is that it was supposed to happen exactly like that. My time was up with her, and that was just the catalyst to me moving on into bigger and better things. It had nothing to do with what happened between her and I, the ultimatum I got, or anything like that. It had to do with, okay, it's time for you to stop being here and go there. And that's why all of that happened. So yeah, so I did it again, and I'm completing. I'm running through the curriculum for living again. I'm preparing for the self-expression and leadership program that takes projects in your life and makes them happen. No, the seminar doesn't. I do, but using the coaching of the seminar is how all of this is going to happen. Some of the people that are going to be in the seminar with me, with us, they can have resources. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen because I jumped over that 20-something years ago. So this is going to be exciting, but oh my God, I'm overwhelmed with paperwork I need to fill out. I need to file things with the VA to get them to stop messing around with my feet. And something else that happened about my eye surgery. And I'm up for transforming the VA. I see veterans complain every day. I hear them, I watch them. And everybody is stuck in stuck in the same place black people are stuck in about being black in this country, like there's not a damn thing we can do about it. Well, yes there is. I'm taking a stand for both. I'm taking a stand for my book. I'm taking a stand for my writing. I'm just taking all sorts of stands where this isn't about somebody else making it happen for me. It's about me making it happen. And then I get led in different directions to make that happen. So I just had a meeting yesterday with some of the heads of my clinic, my VA clinic, and I'm going to try to put together something that with the coaching, with the proper coaching, I'm going to be able to lead them to having people do the landmark form to transform the VA, to begin to transform it. See, I'm gonna start small. I'm gonna start with my clinic and another clinic. And what's really weird is that when I started talking to the what was she called? Some kind of nurse, chief nurse or something like that. That's not exactly what she's called. But when I started talking to her, I didn't even tell her what it was. I didn't tell her what it was. I did not tell her one thing. I said, I'm up for transforming the VA, and that's all she needed to hear. And she turned around and said, well, don't forget that VA over there. I was like, what? Oh, you talking about, I've never been over there. She said, well, that's where we all came from and created this clinic. I said, oh, okay. This all happened inside of nobody knowing what the hell I was talking about. They didn't know what I was talking about at all. So, and I did that on purpose. I talked about logistics first. You know, I wanted to know if I could have the names of the people that I knew, who knew me. They just love me at that clinic because I'm such a crack up. I always have them laughing. They just think I'm outrageous, because I am. Anyway, so I started to create this conversation around that seminar being a part of the VA. And, you know, because the VA, Landmark is not advertised on television, and there's a very good reason why it's not. And I'm not going to go all into that. You can actually go out there and see all the garbage they have to say about the volunteering of Landmark, but it is what it is, and I accept what it is. Works for some, doesn't work for others. Oh well. Sucks to be them if it doesn't work. I don't care because it worked on me, and it's been working on me since the 1980s. So I know it works. The question is, am I willing to put my walls down long enough for something to work? And the work lickety split fast too. 3 days is a really fast time for stuff to transform you. But I'm still in my pro-black stance. I'm still coming from that. Well, that is a huge part of who I am, but I'm seeing it from a different vantage point. I'm seeing it without all of the. I'm seeing it without all of the mob mentality that I've been seeing it with before I did the advanced course. Because ever since I started TMBLM Incorporated, I definitely was watching a lot of pro-black leaders and getting madder and madder and madder, almost to the point where, I was so stuck in this experience that non-black people don't even understand and don't even want to know about. I mean, I still getting kicked around on Fucker Book by people who are fragile about this and don't want to hear it, and they'd rather kick my ass out than hear our narratives and our stories. Oh, and yeah, I'm still the Facebook Live is still going to happen on the 27th. Did I say the 27th? At the end of this month, the last Sunday of this month. That's still happening. I've got more guys in there than I've had all the times I've been doing those lives. I did have to take a break because I had to let my eye heal. This eye. But I'm so stoked. I don't know what to do with myself. I was on the phone with a rep from T-Mobile today, and I had her laughing from the first 2 minutes she's talking to me, and all we did was laugh through that whole conversation. I laughed so hard with her, I forgot why I called her, which made her start laughing too. I mean, she was like, oh my God. I'm just goofy, okay? I can be goofy to a hilarious stage because I don't care. I'm fully self-expressed, and I don't care that I'm goofy. I don't care that I'm silly. I don't care that I'm mad. I don't care that I'm glad. I don't care. I don't have a concern about how I'm being perceived, because I know people aren't. Half of that shit's coming from jealousy. They wish they felt that way too. So I already know. And, oh well, again, sucks to be you. And happy to be me. And now I'm going to be about something that is more than just me. I've always been that way, but I'm coming from a place that I wasn't before I did the advanced course. Which is, standing for the world. I will die for the stance that I'm taking in life. I don't care what happens, as long as I get the ball rolling, as long as I do my part, as long as I'm not just sitting around whining and complaining and sniveling and doing nothing but that. I have to be in action, and I have to be in communication at all times about how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking and everything. And huge word that Landmark is about is authenticity, which is a kind of honesty that is very rare these days. People are honest about their opinions, but they're not honest about who they are being. They could be the biggest jerks in the world and you wouldn't know it because they're coming across a certain way on social media, on the internet, in videos, on TV, in the newspapers, in media, all over the place. They're coming across a certain way that isn't authentic to what's really going on inside. You can't see their insecurities. You can't see any of that. They don't talk about that kind of stuff because they're afraid, like everybody else on the planet is afraid, that if you show people that stuff, they'll take advantage of you. And while there is a bunch of sharks out there that will, there is even more that won't. So my inner circle is going to be made of those kinds of people. And if they're not that kind of people, out they go. They can sit and watch from the sideline of my life. Yeah, they can't be about me, 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 me. We've lost a whole generation to that. Maybe 2 generations to that. Me, me, me nonsense. Anyway, see, I said I was, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm out of integrity. I said I wasn't going to make this that long. I was going to stop at 30 minutes and now it's 40. But everybody have a blessed weekend. It's Saturday morning and the pollinator is out.